Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Lap of the World. I'm Richard, and today we autocross. Well, now that we're underway, I feel I should take a moment and elaborate for those uninitiated on what's about to happen. Autocross is an interesting discipline. It boils down to driving as fast as you can around a bunch of cones in a parking lot. That's a gross oversimplification, but suffice to say that you are driving against the clock. Cars generally do not run head-to-head or at the same time, and the fastest time wins. Now, generally you're competing in a class of similar cars so as to keep competition tight, and there are various rules about levels of modifications and things like that that I'm not going to get into right now because they are quite Byzantine. I today am being lazy. I'm running in our local street tire modified class, which is basically, as we say in the South, run what you brung. It just has to be on street tires. So in this case, that's defined as, I think, 200 tread wear rating or higher. Now, philosophically, I would equate autocross to drag racing in that the action is all condensed into a relatively short amount of time compared to the event as a whole. So today's event may run from, I think the official start time is like 9:30 or 10 for first car off, I think at 11, but it'll probably run until 3 in the afternoon. In that course of time, I would expect to do at most 5 minutes total driving. However, those 5 minutes of driving will be very intense. The way autocross course is set up, you are hardly ever not doing anything. Unlike a road course where you have a straight, where you have the opportunity to sort of like relax your shoulders, flex your hands, check your gauges, relax as much as you can over 100 miles an hour before the next turn. In autocross, at any given point in time, your hands are probably not straight and still for more than a second at a time, and only for a few seconds throughout a corner. The rest of the time, you're either actively accelerating, turning, or braking, or some combination of those. That's why it ends up being great training for car control and is practice for other forms of motorsport. Now, that's not to say it doesn't stand on its own. The SCCA Solo Nationals, the Autocross National Championship event, is actually the largest motorsports event in the world as far as participant attendance. So it is a big deal. Anyway, I'm about at the venue, so I'm going to log off of here, and I'll pick you guys back up once we stop. Alright, well, we made it. It's a little chilly, but I'm going to go register and check in, and then we need to walk the course. Why walk the course, you ask? Well, because it's an autocross course, it's made up out of cones, and therefore it changes every time. You don't walk the course and memorize it, and when you go to drive it, you're going to be completely lost. So, we'll get to that here in a moment. In the meantime, I gotta go throw some money at people and make sure they know I'm here. This autocross event was facilitated by the East Tennessee region of the Sports Car Club of America and graciously hosted by Tennessee Smokies Baseball. Links to both organizations are in the video description below. So I've just crossed the start line on my first walk of the day. Now, as I said before, you walk the course to memorize it, but you kind of want to go into it with a plan, and usually I build my plan around 3 walks. So first walk, I just want to know where things go. Second walk, I want to pay attention to any of the particular tricky turns or busy areas where there are lots of cones, just to make sure I don't miss something. And then on the third walk, I'm actually trying to develop a real plan of attack for the run. So anyway, I'm going to get back to actually walking and paying attention, so I don't get lost on course like some noob. Okay, we've got enough course walks in now that I don't think I'm going to be completely lost. So the next step is I need to go and get the car put through tech. So basically, we're just going to check to make sure that the wheels aren't going to fall off, it's not leaking anything, and that the battery is tied down. You know, it seems trivial, but is necessary, especially when you have a lot of people that are new to motorsports and the necessities thereof. So I'm going to go take care of that formality, and then we'll probably have a driver's meeting where they'll cover some quick rules and the schedule, and then we'll be ready to get going. So I'll talk to you guys again in a few minutes. The driver's meeting covered some basic rules for anyone new, as well as acknowledging the usual driving event safety considerations. And of course a thanks to the host facility, and a reminder to try and leave the site nicer than we found it. Autocross, after all, depends largely on the generosity of businesses and organizations who own the lots on which we are allowed to race. With that, the first group of cars were moved to a grid area to start the first runs. So we're about to take off on our first run here momentarily. If you're new at this, or if you've been away for a while like me, I'm going to treat this first lap as a sighting run, just to make sure that what I visualized when I was walking the course actually translates to when I'm driving it. Because obviously if it takes you, 10 seconds to walk a section, you might cover that section in the car in, 1 to 3 sections, depending on how complicated it is. So we'll see how it goes to the course. Okay, run 1 download. I'm rusty. The course is slippery, but that was fun. It's good to be back. We'll see if we can improve. That was a 35 point something something something. I'll have to check on my phone here in a second. So our goal is just to improve on that. Everything with the car felt fine, so that's good news. So run 2, we dropped a couple of seconds, which is good improvement. I don't know where that leaves us in class against the yellow Lotus next to us and a race prep to BMW over there. But again, I'm not expecting wonders today. Says the guy who just unknowingly jumped into first place in his class.
Is this the cool thing to do, to back in? Yeah,
It's harder to see out the back of these damn things.
Yeah. You guys are so cool. Go ahead.
Okay, run 3, dropped another second, so getting better. The yeah, the transmission and the clutch feel great. Thing is launching really pretty hard. Able to break traction on the rear tires with not much issue right off the line. Course is fairly slippery, so I'm kind of struggling for front grip a couple of places. I've been checking my tire pressures. You haven't seen this, but between every run I'll check my tire pressures because I don't have nitrogen in them, so the tires will gain pressure as they heat up. But it's so cold outside, it's probably still in the 40s, that it really hasn't crept up much at all. I might have had to bleed off half a pound. If I were taking it super seriously, I would probably take a couple pounds, or start with taking a pound out of the front to see if I could get a little bit more little bit more compliance and therefore grip out of the front end. But I'm not really going to bother with that today. Again, I'm mainly concerned with how the car is running from an engine mechanical drivetrain standpoint, and making sure my wheel bearing repair is stuck. So we'll probably have a couple more runs, and then it'll be time for me to trade places with the people who are working the course right now. I don't know if you've noticed that from the front end camera, but there are a bunch of people in orange vests, or I'm sorry, today green vests. Colorblind, I swear. They're out there watching for any dangerous situations and picking up cones that people knock over. And that's how autocrosses work, is you drive and then you work, or you work and then you drive, because that way you're able to make the event run smoothly and sort of enable your friends to go and have a good time as well. That's done with our 6 runs today. So yes, only a 30-second course, but we got to try it 6 times, which was nice. At the end of the day, I actually ended up first in class. Unfortunately, not the way I wanted to end up first in class, as the gentleman that whose time I beat in my final run actually had a mechanical issue on his final run, so wasn't able to defend his position properly, we'll say. But anyway, it's time for me to go work the course, so I got to leave you guys here because I have to pay attention and make sure I'm fetching cones in an efficient manner and not getting run over. So I'll talk to you guys after we're done with that, but a successful day so far. After the second heat finished their runs on a now dry course, my unexpected first in class also landed me 11th overall out of 74 entrants in non-adjusted time. Behind, as expected, most of the pro class drivers who take preparations very seriously indeed, and a few hot shoes in XP and A mod cars, basically unlimited class. Honestly, I had no expectations going into this event given how long I've been out of the game, but ended the day extremely pleased with both my own and the NSX's performance in her post-surgery shakedown. And on that note, seems like a good place to stop for now. So I'll see you guys in the next video, if not at the track. I'm Richard, and this is Lap of the World.